Hi guys, this is Dr. Aeronautics. Welcome back to the Jones Falls Conduit tour. This is part 2. We're still in the Goliath Chamber. Today we will triple our current distance inside the tunnel and come to within no closer than half a mile to the exit. We'll go ahead and clean things up here, first of all. And we will continue the journey. If you don't know how we got here, check out part 1. Part 1 will show everything from the beautiful river valley to the dark night that is our condition right now. Okay, so we're continuing into Hendricks Folly now, known officially as the Guilford Avenue Diversion Tunnel. It's 29 feet in diameter and dug into the deep earth, meaning that we are technically below ground. The engineers decided that rather than cover the existing 135-degree turn of the river by Penn Station, it would be more beneficial to cut that corner directly via a 1,060-foot tunnel. It is now truly cave darkness. There are no manhole covers that feed on, for we are actually underground. The air here often reeks, and the graffiti index is falling. There is not much foot traffic in this far, mainly because we have to walk straight down the middle of the river. Again, the sides of the tunnel are curved, meaning that you're likely to slip back down to the middle of the river. Occasionally, droplets of water will fall from the ceiling, but due to the roar of the river, which the Minecraft sound effects do not do it justice, you won't hear them splashing into the water. Okay, we're about 100 meters or 350 feet inside Hendricks Folly now. This is the outfall of the Jenkins Run stormwater system. It has been reported to deliver fresh air to the Folly's downstream portion only. And it's also round. However, about 700 feet inside the tunnel lies the Combined Sewer Outlet Storm Surge Outlet number 72, which discharges large amounts of untreated sewage when the sewers fill from very heavy rains. And not this section, but there are some sections that date from the 1870s. You have to go a ways till you get to the side of where the actual Jones Falls used to be from the current diversion tunnel, which is about 310 feet or just about 100 meters. Then you'll reach that old section. This tunnel also passes underneath and provides a drainage point for Amtrak's northeast corridor in the Union tunnels. The system drains approximately 900 acres of land, and it contains steep grades, staircases, drop falls, brick arches, and flumes. And some of the rock that had to be excavated here was used to mix the tunnel system downstream from Hendricks Folly, which we will uncover today. Okay, we're now coming to a very slight right. In real life, this would not be quite as extreme. We're somewhere between Biddle Street and Preston Street and underneath Guilford Avenue right now. Again, I used to have a command block that would successfully fix things for me, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to be happening right now. So we've just made another one of those slight turns. This time it was a slight left, and we're approaching the next item in the tunnel. We are now passing underneath Biddle Street. And we're pretty much just about underneath Interstate 83 right now. So this direction would be Interstate 83 towards Penn Station, and this way would be towards the Inner Harbor. Okay, there is another type of a outlet here. I'm not exactly sure what the name of this outlet is. I don't believe it's the Hill and Street sewer, because that is a little bit further down. We'll show that in just a couple minutes, but that iron device that's there is a flapper valve which will open when enough water comes behind it to build up the pressure so much that the sewer door will open and spew raw sewage here. So I would not recommend doing this in real life, because if that were pressurized, it could just suddenly open and spew sewage, raw sewage, onto my face. And oh, doesn't this place look ominous? Welcome to the Flume Chamber. This is where the Hendricks Folly dry flow is diverted into the eastern of 3 conduits. The other 2 conduits sit much higher up off of the water. This is nearly the center of the system and the jewel, and is one of the hardest places to reach. More than 1 kilometer from any entrance. But believe it or not, the actual halfway point of this main tunnel is about 1,100 feet further south of our current location. This is the location featured in Urban Exploration Trophy images. The equivalent of summiting a mountain. This here is a sawed-off ladder. The water was the salt. Now, as big as this chamber is, it sometimes fills to capacity and even pressurizes in heavy storms. When this happens, the flow is 16,750 cubic feet per second. The 2 twin large conduits here are 17 by 17 feet, and the eastern conduit here is 14.5 by 8 feet, at least at some point. At this location here, not exactly, because of the way the system funnels the creek down. But it will eventually reach that point. Okay, and I did promise the Hill and Street combined sewer outflow valve. That's what this device is down here. This iron structure is a flapper valve, which will open up in the worst of storms to release the Hillen Street combined sewer outflow, raw untreated sewage into the Jones Falls Conduit. There are some reports that it is actually damaged to the point where it is always leaking to some degree at all times. This is extremely treacherous here. I do not want to go down that flume. This is, to be honest, one of the most dangerous parts in the system right here, because you'll see in real pictures, it's a tremendous waterfall right here. And this is kind of like a, it's a real flume. You do not want to go down there, because once you do, you won't be able to get out. And once you commit to this tunnel, that's it. You're stuck with it for, I want to say, probably 2 kilometers is probably the distance that we have left to go. Okay, we are all set to go. We'll take the center conduit. Again, the western conduit carries dry flow. Sorry, not dry flow, wet flow. Same with the center conduit. And the eastern is the one that carries the dry flow Jones Falls. Okay, you can see there's a little bit of a drop that we just took, and it ends right about here. This is the downside of the apron that was used to separate the water. So now everything is at the same level. So we've got the western conduit, which is now 17 by 17. The center conduit, which is 17 by 17. And now the eastern conduit is 14.5 by 8 now. Okay, this is about what you would see the system as right now. So earlier you could probably see down and out of the system, but of course there's no straight sections that lead to skylights. So every once in a while you might have a manhole cover, but most of the time not. We're actually very near the Baltimore City Jail, which is going to be up that way to the east, and of course we're underground right now. Although not as much as before. We're actually in a cut and cover tunnel. Basically what they did is they put the Jones Falls into a cut, and they've covered it up. So we're actually under the Fallsway right now, and we're somewhere between Eager and Madison Streets. You can never be too careful down here. I actually got the creeps while designing this system. Knowing all the nuances of it and everything, even with being able to fly and everything up there, dropping into the system and not having a splash potion of night vision like this, it just gave me the creeps. Every so often we drop just a little bit more towards sea level. Okay. Now this is an interesting location here. This is the first triple cell dimension shift. So remember we said this location is 17 by 17 feet in 2 tunnels, and the third is 14.5 by 8. So south of this location, the center tunnel and the western tunnel are 20 by 15.5. And the eastern tunnel will now double in size, which is all the water that you're hearing now, to 16 by 15.5. And we're going to take a slight tunnel now. Or slight turn. We are now underneath Madison Street and heading towards Center Street. Okay. Now, I do recognize that. Maybe I don't. I thought I did. Oh, here we go. It was just I think we're having some rendering issues. There we go. So this is a manhole cover underneath... please ignore the rats. It's somewhere underneath, just before Center Street. You can actually see it in the Fallsway. We're still running directly underneath the Fallsway, and the manhole covers in this section of the city say DPW Conduit on them. Of course, that's where we are right now. I'll be honest, guys, it is totally unknown at this point if any graffiti exists here or any side passage infalls exist on the walls. This right here is the very heart of the system, and very little information is known about this segment. So, I mentioned to you guys something called the shore. So what exactly do I mean by shore? Well, consider the following. The conduit enters 35 feet above sea level, and it exits with 7 feet of water in the conduit from the Baltimore harbor. The harbor is connected to the ocean, which means that stagnant water will occupy all tunnel below sea level. This means that at some point, the floor of the tunnel will dip below sea level, and when that happens, the water will cover the floor all the way out to the harbor in ever-increasing depths. The spot where the water flooding occurs, I am calling the shore. Okay. Well, just in time. So you notice this is the stagnant water here. I would not recommend doing this because this is Baltimore Harbor water, and if you fell in where the marinas are, you'd probably need something like 40 shots. I have no idea how many shots you would need right here in this tunnel, but I could probably say at least double it. So I'm not going to go really any further than this because if I do, eventually at some point I will go underwater, and that's very bad. We don't want to do that. So how are we going to continue from here on out? A boat. That's the only way to get us out of the system without completely turning around. I hope you guys have enjoyed this segment of the tour. And next episode will be the very end of the tour, where we continue through the flooded conduit all the way to the exit just north of Lombard Street in downtown Baltimore. I've been Dr. Aeronautics, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.